Ah, you're here early. Like the mask. Is that Halloween Kills, is it? Mine's is more like the classic original. That's more my kind of style. But yeah, I like it. It's good. I mean, they're both better than the Halloween 4 mask, that's for sure, eh? Or the Halloween 5 with the neck thing going on. What was that about? Just tuck it in, mate. Yeah. You alright? You're not talking.
Sorry, I'm late. Who's this?
I thought it was you. Hello, welcome to Woodshed Reviews, where we look at films old and new, good and bad. On today's show, we're ranking all the Halloween films, all 13 of them, from worst to best.
So this was quite difficult.
Well, watching 13 Halloween films.
Yeah, it sends you a bit crazy.
It does a bit, yeah. This is your choice to do this, and yeah, I was kind of like calling you names at one point.
You suggested it 2 years ago, was it not?
Yeah, possibly. But anyway, so we've looked at all 13 Halloween films. Yes, there are that many Halloween films in the series. They've been retconned, rebooted and remade to infinity, it feels like. And then we've individually ranked them from our worst, or our least favourite if you like, to our best. We don't know what each other has picked, and we're going to reveal them one by one, and as they come up we'll talk about all the Halloween films.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
If you say so.
My least favourite, because this film doesn't do much for me, but I can appreciate a lot of it, is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
All right, okay. We are going to have a difference of opinion here then, but fair enough. So this is the black sheep of the Halloween family.
Yeah, it feels like an anthology film. I think it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, it should really be booted off into another anthology, if you ask me.
It's a kind of weird, it's not pure horror, it's a bit sci-fi, it's a bit fantasy, it kind of blends all that kind of stuff together. But it's all going to be taking place through people's TVs whilst they're watching the original 1978 John Carpenter Halloween film.
The Immortal Classic, followed by the big giveaway at 9. Brought to you by...
I do enjoy this film more and more that I watch it. I think you have to view it as an independent film, completely devoid from the rest of them, and I just pretend it's a film called Season of the Witch.
Though there's no witch in it.
There's no witch in it. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I don't really understand the full story of what's going on as it gets to the end, but I like the kind of mystery. I like the characters in it a bit more. I wasn't too sure about our main character, played by Tom Atkins. You know, he's kind of presented as this kind of like Mr. Loverman type. Everyone's swooning over him, yet he's no Robert Redford.
Yeah.
It's not aged well in that regard. But I think once you kind of get over that, I kind of like the mystery about it. I like it's a slightly different kind of story. And I think it's a shame that the series wasn't able to go down that path of anthologizing itself a bit more rather than just purely
Michael
Myers sequel.
Sure.
But yeah, so it's your least favourite?
Yeah, because I can appreciate it. It's really well made, written, acted, things like that, but it's just not for me.
It's got its issues towards the end. I'm not really sure what's going on and stuff.
Yeah.
But strong sort of hour and a bit or so, character stuff and everything. I like the mystery. It's something a bit different, especially when you know you're sitting here watching 13 Michael Myers films. It's a nice little breather.
Okay.
I'll give it that. I like the old man from RoboCop performance in it. I think he's quite well cast and quite good. Kind of carries a little bit of gravitas there. Just even little lines that he says, like because I've carted a bit of Stonehenge, like a huge chunk of Stonehenge from England across to America, and you're like, how did that happen? And he just kind of waves it away with a great line.
We had a time getting it here. You wouldn't believe how we did it.
When you've got an actor of that capability, I'm like, yeah, I'm on board. It's like, you know, I'm kind of like, yeah, fine, okay. I buy into that.
He sells it, yeah.
I like the meta-ness of it, that this is taking place during the Halloween showing. They're showing the original classic. It's Halloween night. It's on TV. Everyone's going to gather around to watch it.
Yeah, and
with
it's
their
got
masks.
and it's got that tune which you can't get out of your head.
It's 4 days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. It's 4 days to Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
And it's got a good ending, you know, I think, you know.
Yeah, that's one of the strongest endings for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So I think we've talked about Halloween, your least favourite Halloween film enough. Will we talk about...
Well, you know, it does feel a shame I put it last place, but
That's fine.
yeah. Your least favourite?
My least favourite. It's a Rob Zombie entry into the franchise. And it's his second film, Halloween 2.
But we'll talk about this when it comes up on my list.
Okay, right, fair enough. Right. So we'll be going to
Our next one?
our next one. So this is our 12th, our second least favourite, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Will I review mine first?
Yeah, I think it's the same one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Do you spy my notes?
No, I just got a feeling.
Okay. Halloween Resurrection.
Yep.
Let the dangertainment begin out there.
I have some fun with this.
Yeah, I mean, if you take it from Michael Myers' point of view, you can get into it more. He completes his lifelong ambition of dispatching Laurie Strode within the first 15 minutes,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a gut punch, really.
Well, it kind of retcons the whole of H20, the ending of that, which felt like a nice ending.
It's good to see Jamie Lee Curtis back as Laurie Strode, even though she's only in the start of the film.
I think she was held at gunpoint to do
Probably,
this.
yeah.
I think from what I've read, she didn't want to return, but she was contractually obligated to be in it for a certain amount of time. So she sort of said, I think she said, right, well, I just want to be killed off, and that's it.
Yeah, you say she's killed off, she falls out a window, but Dr. Loomis has survived worse than that.
Well, this is true.
It's time, Michael.
A few years later.
You look good, Sam. I feel great. I had surgery, plastic surgery.
I guess it's a little bit Scream, it's a little bit Blair Witch, it's a little bit American Pie.
Yeah, because Michael Myers, he basically goes home after killing Laurie Strode, and he just wants to kind of chill out, but his house is invaded by a bunch of young folk, strangers, doing a reality internet show.
Tomorrow night, Halloween, live in front of the whole entire internet universe. You six will enter the birthplace of evil in its purest form. The childhood home of our most brutal mass murderer, Michael Myers.
Classic teenagers in a haunted house, I guess.
Yeah.
They're all fitted with video cameras, so you can see everything that's going on, and it's supposed to be this big show. It's pioneered by Freddy, played by Busta Rhymes. I don't know, was Busta Rhymes financing this film and writing the script himself? It feels like it.
Looking a little crispy over there, Mikey. Like some chicken fried, motherfucker.
He survives,
He
doesn't
survives, and he learns a lesson at the end,
he? Yeah.
apparently.
Michael Myers is not a soundbite, a spin-off, a tie-in, some kind of celebrity scandal. Michael Myers is a killer shark in baggy-ass overalls.
So there's like him and a final girl. It just feels a bit redundant in that aspect. His performance is just terrible. Some of the dialogue, I don't know if there was even a script at this point.
And this is to us, for successfully, let me give you a little more, putting together something collectively so ingenious as a team and a duo that we should definitely be able to secure a lot of food on the table for ourselves as long as everything goes as nicely as it's going right now.
This is the worst.
But also, they do give him some kind of character stuff because he's able to do kung fu on Michael Myers.
me? Huh? Fucker.
And the reason he's able to do kung fu on Michael Myers is because he watches kung fu movies.
Of course, that's the way to do it.
Get his ass, get his ass, get his ass!
It's short, I suppose, after the Laurie Strode bit. It's just about an hour of this kind of stuff that's going on with the teenagers in the house.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really latch on to anyone, like you said, and yeah, there's a few amusing moments, a few recognisable faces, things like that.
I think it's low down on most people's lists. It's not a film that anybody, apart from Busta Rhymes, I'm sure he thinks it's a masterpiece.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
My number 11 is Halloween 6.
Okay. Mine's is Halloween 5.
Okay.
We'll go with 6 then, because that's kind of universally kind of panned, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not that bad.
I think I like it a bit more than you. Well, obviously on my list.
Yeah.
I think. Well, you go. What's your sort of beef with Halloween? What's your beef with Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd. What do you mean? He's good. He's great in it.
Tommy? Tommy?
You needed to dial it back a touch. I
His performance.
Yeah.
Towards the end, it gets a bit silly.
But I like his character. He's kind of obsessed with Michael Myers, and
he's playing Tommy Doyle from the first film.
Yeah.
He wasn't Tommy Doyle in the first film, but he's obviously this.
And he's not Tommy Doyle in the later film either.
Sadly not. Sadly not. We'll get to that.
Evil dies tonight!
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Paul Rudd's all right in it, and it's a strong enough character. He just kind of overacts it a bit towards the end. He's doing that kind of twitchy thing, and when he's taking on Michael Myers, it's all a bit schlocky and a bit silly and stuff.
Sure, and I found what they did with Jamie Lloyd's character a bit cruel. Obviously, Danielle Harris didn't come back to play Jamie Lloyd. I don't think she liked the way it was going, so she declined to take part in it.
Yeah, I think there was some payment and contractual things as well that kind of soured it as well, from what I'm aware of. So she was just kind of recast.
And it just, all this stuff about the kind of secret cult, I guess, it was a bit too much. I think Michael Myers is good when you know less about what's going on in the background.
It gets to that point where you're at that film, it's film 6, but film 5 in his story, I guess, and you've got to kind of tell a little bit more and reveal a little bit more, and you get to that point when it's just silly. And this is the one where he's not Michael Myers in space quite yet, but it's
getting there, because he's wandering about at the end like a security guard, isn't he?
Yeah.
What have they done to you?
I would say my slightly different take on it is the opening stuff with the pagan birth ritual and all the pagan-y kind of stuff at this facility at the end. That's all pretty silly and it taints the film, and I think that's what people come out and remember. I think the hour in between, when we're in Haddonfield with Paul Rudd's character and I can't remember her name, Strode. She's like
Cara Strode.
Yeah, she's like related to Laurie. They're like cousins, are they? I guess.
Yeah.
You got Loomis running about as usual. He's kind of a bit more back in form after Halloween 5. I felt slightly better performance and character.
Barry, what happened to that psychiatrist of his, Loomis? I heard the old quack was dead.
What, are you looking for a referral?
Not dead.
You know, maybe you should contact his parents.
Just very much retired.
I think that's all pretty solid enough, and I think it's a lot better than, for example, Halloween 5, which is lower down on my list. It's bookended by this complete nonsense, which, if you haven't seen it for a while, that's all you probably remember. I kind of go to bat for it a little bit.
Sure.
I'm not going to kind of, say it's a masterpiece or anything, but it's all right.
No, I enjoy it. I think I enjoy all the films, like I said, and yeah 6 is all right. Yeah, I can cope with it. So my number 10 is Halloween by Rob Zombie.
Halloween by Rob Zombie. Okay, my number 10 is Halloween by Rob Zombie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a film of two halves, isn't it? First half, we get the backstory of Michael Myers. Really kind of tough childhood, abusive family, bullied at school. Wee guy's got no chance, and yeah, you obviously feel a lot of empathy for him. And then he obviously things get too much for him, and he lashes out. But yeah, you kind of feel for him because he had no chance really.
Yeah. Okay. I feel slightly differently because I think we spend a lot of time with his backstory for Michael Myers. And I guess if you watch the original these days, you might kind of be like, with a modern kind of thinking, you might feel, I'd like to know more about why Michael Myers did what he did and what led up to all that kind of stuff and everything. And then for me, we get like 45 minutes of that before the film kind of goes into the back end of Halloween. And I'm none the wiser really of why Michael Myers is the way that he is.
Michael's downward slide into this hellish abyss continues. I fear he's on the verge of completely shutting down.
Being directed by Rob Zombie, he's quite a unique filmmaker, quite dark and gritty. I think he had a tough time making this particular film. But I thought, he did all right with it.
Well, I had a tough time watching it. So, I just think it's way too over the top. Not as much as the second one, but it's so over the top where scenes like at the very opening scene at the Myers household, there's like no subtlety to it. The father figure and the stuff he's coming out with, it's a bit like, it just feels it's not quite full on Rob Zombie, I would say, but it's kind of getting there.
Don't you give me that book!
Man, that bitch got herself a nice little dumper.
What did you just say?
You heard me.
It's very juvenile and it's very kind of like I'm trying to be really shocking and everyone's gritty and disgusting and it's all slathered over with this kind of Rob Zombie grime. No one's a nice person,
It is. It feels like that very much so. It takes its time, for me anyway, for the characters to endear themselves to me. They're all kind of speaking the same sort of Rob Zombie dialogue.
This is the thing, it's just everything about it is Rob Zombie and he doesn't seem to be able to write different characters or different situations to the point that, our introduction to Laurie Strode, she's supposed to be like, the Girl Scout, prim and a little bit proper and a little bit kind of reserved. And in this one she's introduced making sexual remarks to her mother over the breakfast table, fingering a donut.
Look at this, Mom.
Laurie!
I'm sorry. Okay.
Are you eating?
No, I'll get something at school.
Right. I'm kind of done with this film at this point because nobody escapes the Rob Zombie treatment,
Sure. I mean, yeah, I get that up to a point. But I think eventually when you see her alone with the kids, basically Annie's kind of dumped off the kids she's looking after to Laurie Strode. And you kind of see a different side to Laurie Strode with the kids. It's quite a nice scene.
Yeah. Why do you keep avoiding the subject, Laurie? Is she scared? Maybe she is.
I mean, I slightly prefer this film to his sequel just because it feels like there's someone overseeing him a little bit with this kind of stuff and there's maybe some restraints on him.
Well,
I feel
as opposite I feel, because I think I prefer the sequel because it felt like there was no restraints and he was
that's what I'm saying.
Proper film.
No, that's what I'm saying. The first one, he's got restraints on and the second one, he's like full on Rob Zombie.
Which is good. What he should be doing.
If you hire Rob Zombie to do a film, then you want Rob Zombie to do a film. I just don't know if I would have hired Rob Zombie to do a Halloween film. Mine's is the original sequel, Halloween 2.
Okay.
At number 9.
Interesting.
Not that I don't like it so much, but a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing the list, this was quite low, but I ended up putting it up a bit.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. Mine is H20.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, this is good.
Yeah. So Halloween 2 takes place basically the same night as Halloween 1, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Laurie Strode spends most of it in her time in the hospital.
Yeah, here's my joke. It's not really a joke. Both Jamie Lee Curtis and Laurie Strode are wasted in this film.
That's the joke.
I like the 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes or so opening when we're going through Haddonfield and we're seeing right after the events of the first film, some of it from different perspectives and stuff. but we see the town kind of igniting, coming alive because of the events that have happened. Sirens in the background, telephone calls, TV and radio transmissions and stuff. Michael Myers is kind of weaving his way through. Some people are very lucky, some people are not so lucky.
Yeah.
I like all that stuff. And then we kind of get to the hospital, and it just kind of, for me, it just comes to a kind of grinding halt.
They're just jammed with both people and
Well, I
crime.
sure could go for a pizza
This
now.
is a quiet, peaceful street
Nice big
usually,
one with
but
sausage,
tonight
onions,
neighbors were
peppers.
stunned by the gruesome sight of three
But no
bodies.
mushrooms. I hate mushrooms.
It does, yeah.
Weak characters who are just there to be meet in the room.
Yeah, you got that hospital, let's say a porter or a...
Jimmy strikes up a friendship with Laurie, but then doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and he's just there for the girls, isn't he? He's just flirting away with it.
Yeah, but he doesn't have anything to do. He doesn't protect Laurie. In fact, he puts her in danger.
I think,
And there's a lot of characters like that. The hospital just doesn't feel like it's a real place. Doesn't feel like it comes to life or anything like that. And they could have done that with, given the events that have happened, that there might be a little bit more kind of livelihood to it or something.
Yeah.
But it just feels like, I don't know, and it just feels like it drags out. We follow a security guard for 5 minutes just to see him get stabbed. There's another Jimmy's friend who's having a smooch with one of the nurses, and we follow that for 10 minutes, and it's just purely so we can have a killing scene. It's probably one of the worst films in the series for me that does that, where it's like, right, we need to have more killings than the last film, so that means we need to have more characters in it, but there's nothing you can do with them.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there to be killed.
Oh, I've not seen that.
Oh, I have. It's really good.
Is it? How many killings?
7.
No, get
Laurie Strode is left kind of in the wilderness a bit. Loomis is okay. He has some stuff to do, I guess.
It became an obsession with me until I realized that there was nothing within him, neither conscience nor reason, that was even remotely human.
Yeah. There's a good chase with Michael Myers and Laurie in the hospital when it starts to get starts to get good then.
Yeah, a little bit towards the end, yeah.
Yeah, and of course Loomis saves the day by blowing himself up along with Michael Myers.
He burns them both to death, apparently.
it's time, Michael.
It wasn't to be, otherwise we probably wouldn't be sitting here.
No.
So I've put number 8. You got your number 8 ready? I've talked about my one, it's Halloween 6. So number 8. So
Halloween 5.
For you. So I haven't talked about 5. I have this one quite low, but do you want to swing for it?
Yeah, it's still a decent film. It's a bit of a letdown to start because I think the ending of Halloween 4 is probably my favourite ending of all the films. It's just so powerful, and then this one starts. It's like a bit of a letdown.
It squanders the potential, definitely, right off the bat. The young girl, Daniel Harris, that we've been following in 4, gets possessed by Michael Myers and kills her stepmother.
Yeah.
And Loomis is like, no! You're kind of like going, okay, what are you going to do with Halloween 5?
Yeah, how do you follow that up?
And they just kind of say, she just injured her mother and she's going to a children's home to get better.
And Halloween 4 I felt took everything quite serious, and then this one you got these 2 cops and they're introduced with these weird sound effects.
All clear. Nothing above, nothing below.
What about Max?
They don't do it that often though.
No.
But it's like, it's so weird, and we've not been introduced to them, so we're not aware of why they're doing this with them. They're supposed to be inept or something like that, like they're aware that they're inept.
Definitely not funny. Somebody could easily be dead right now. Fortunately, we're lousy cops. Sorry.
It loses Rachel, is it, from Halloween 4, who was our main girl.
Yeah, she wasn't used very well in this film at all.
No, they kill her off and kind of half replace her with Tina.
Mm-hmm.
And Tina, Jeez, man, she is annoying. Like,
yeah, there's still a lot of decent scenes in it. There's the two kids running through the woods being chased.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few moments like that I quite enjoyed.
Donald Pleasance as Loomis. It's his worst performance. It's way over the score at this point. He's starting to become like a bad guy.
He's a bit more unhinged, isn't he?
What about your stepmother, Jamie? You love her, don't you? He made you stab her.
Yeah, he's kind of bullying this young girl at points.
And kind of using her as bait, almost. Yeah. I thought it's a bit extreme, but it's quite fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always like Loomis running about in it, you know. But in this one, it's my least favourite Donald Pleasance performance.
Mm-hmm.
So all that kind of congregates, and I struggle to remember how it even ends. There's a jail escape, isn't there? With
that's how it ends.
The Thorne character, I guess.
Yeah, and all the officers are killed.
But you don't see any of that. You know, that could have been a nice kind of action scene, but you just see the aftermath of it. It feels like it kind of squanders a lot of potential and stuff. It's probably my least favourite of the original sequels.
Okay.
Just because it's quite, it feels really kind of slow as well because it's not connected anything up together. Mm-hmm. It's all very bitty.
I preferred it to 6. I think just because it hadn't, you know, the Jamie Lloyd story was still there and they hadn't destroyed it the way they did in 6.
Yeah, it wasn't good what they did with her in 6, but yeah, I preferred her in 4 overall. I think. But yeah, fine. It's not great. But
yeah,
it's a lot of these films are not great.
Yeah.
So. So 7th on my list is the most recent film in the series, Halloween Ends.
Okay. And mine is Halloween Kills.
We did review Halloween Ends before and we were very different on it. I would say that I can kind of, on a second viewing, I can kind of see it from a different perspective. It's the closest thing to Halloween 3, and stylistically, with its credits and stuff, it's definitely aping that. And that it goes in a different direction. I just think this was not the time to go in a different direction. It's a 4th part in a 4-part story where we've built up to this kind of stuff, and it just seems to kind of go, yeah, we don't care about all that. We don't care about Laurie Strode. We're going to rewrite our Michael Myers. We're going to sideline him. We're going to bring in this new story, this new character. And I can appreciate that in and of itself. I've got some issues with the story. I've got some issues with the characters and stuff like that. I was a bit harsh on it initially 2 years ago. I'm a little softer on it now, but not hugely.
Sure. I loved Halloween Ends just because it's so different, and they tried to do something different from the same old. And I liked the new character, Corey Cunningham, and what they tried to do with him. I thought it was quite interesting. And I love the story so much I went and bought the novelization of the script. Okay. And it's just there's a lot more in it. Okay. So I enjoyed that. And I do think the film could have been a lot better than it was, for sure. Yeah. I just loved the potential it had and ideas it had.
Am I a bad person? Are you?
Well, we're both fucked up.
I think I would have just liked it if they'd done this at a different time in the Halloween story, because it just felt like I said, it just kind of leaves it dangling, and then at the end they kind of go, oh yeah, we need to have Michael Myers and Laurie Strode facing down for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's not that good, like that sequence.
I know, I think the whole Laurie Strode, Michael Myers relationship didn't feel strong in the latest films. I mean, what's the connection between them? They're no longer brother and sister.
No, it doesn't really make sense completely. Yeah, but at the same time, if you're gonna do like a trilogy of films to a film, then maybe they should be story-wise a bit more connected, and not feel like you're just kind of like giving up like at the 3/4 mark or something, and just I want to do something completely different.
Yeah, it's probably because there wasn't much in the whole Laurie Strode.
That's fair enough, but then just finish it after Halloween Kills. You know, I mean, that could have been it, and then do a separate film.
Yeah.
You know, like this, and I would have been fine with that.
That would have been better.
Yeah, I think that's my main beef with it, is that like it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the film. Sidelining Michael Myers for most of the film. He's like this indestructible god at the end of Halloween Kills, and then suddenly he's like, oh, you know, I'm getting up there a little bit, you know, I'm in my 60s now, you know.
My back! Oh, my back!
But I suppose if you take it and watch it as of its own, which it's not really, I kind of can appreciate it a little more, but not hugely.
Yeah, I think it did a lot of fresh things with the whole Halloween franchise,
which it definitely needs. It
Yeah.
definitely needs, but there's as I say, there's a time to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
What?